Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we have a truly fascinating and honestly incredibly high-stakes explainer lined up for you. We're going to be looking at Earth's unseen, life-saving protector and asking the big question, what would actually happen if it just suddenly failed? We are talking about the silent collapse of our planet's invisible shield.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine the ultimate apocalyptic thought experiment with me here. What if our planet's absolute greatest defense completely vanished tomorrow? And I don't mean slowly degrading over a million years, but literally overnight. Actually, scratch that, in an instant. How fast would everything we know and rely on just completely unravel?
To really understand the immense stakes here, we need to ground the science quickly. So, miles and miles, right beneath our feet, Earth's swirling molten iron outer core is acting like this massive dynamic liquid metal engine. And this churning core, it creates a huge magnetic bubble around our planet that deflects a nonstop barrage of deadly solar radiation. It is, quite literally, our cosmic armor. Section 1. The invisible shield drops. So, this marks the very beginning of our doomsday timeline. The immediate result? Earth is suddenly left entirely exposed to the raw, unmitigated fury of the solar wind. And keep in mind, this solar wind travels at a mind-bending 1 million miles per hour. I really want to emphasize the terrifying vulnerability of this situation here, because without the magnetosphere, we suddenly have zero buffer against what is essentially a cosmic execution. Section 2. The Modern Dark Age.
Walk with me rapidly through this exact chain reaction because it happens fast. At 0 hours, right, without our global buffer, even a relatively minor solar flare easily breaches the atmosphere. Bam. By hour 2, this blast of plasma, which scientists call a coronal mass ejection, induces these massive, uncontrollable electrical currents throughout our power grids. By hour 4, transformers are physically exploding worldwide, and within just 12 hours, humanity suffers a total, permanent, global grid failure. The sheer speed of this collapse is just breathtaking. And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of instant technological casualties. The internet permanently dies. Our communication satellites are instantly fried by solar particles. Basically, all computerized infrastructure just burns right out. In less than a single day, global logistics and the complex supply chains that keep our supermarkets stocked completely vanish. I really hope you kept your old paper maps because GPS is gone forever. The visceral contrast between these two worlds is staggering. In an instant, we're thrown from our hyper-connected digital utopia of immediate communication and global trade directly into a modern dark age. No power, no logistics, no digital communication whatsoever. Just a raw, primitive reality that we would instantly be forced into navigating. Section 3. Nature's Broken Compass. Now, to grasp the biology behind this next systemic collapse, we really need to understand magnetoreception. This is a fascinating biological sense used by trillions of animals to physically read Earth's magnetic lines for navigation. It's basically a built-in, internal biological compass, and it completely underpins the survival and migration patterns of countless species on this planet. And without it, this builds into an absolute catastrophe for wildlife. Because they rely heavily on this magnetic field, trillions of animals essentially lose their minds simultaneously. We'd see migratory birds flying completely off course into hostile environments. We'd see whales beaching themselves in unprecedented numbers. Sea turtles would entirely lose their sense of direction. Monarch butterflies, completely lost in the sky. And perhaps most critically for us, honeybee colonies would fail to navigate back to their hives. The sheer, sudden navigational and behavioral breakdown here is on a truly catastrophic scale. So, the devastating bottom line? We are looking at the immediate, systemic collapse of global ecosystems and our agricultural pollination networks. Without bees and migrating animals doing their jobs, the natural world just crashes. And, well, our global food supply goes right down with it.
Section 4. The Scorched Surface. So, as the months progress and we inevitably struggle to feed ourselves without power, it forces us to ask this incredibly suspenseful question. Could humanity even survive outside anymore? The harsh reality is that daylight itself becomes an extreme, deadly health hazard. Now, it's important to note here that our physical atmosphere is still technically intact at this point, meaning the air stops us from, immediate vaporization. But make no mistake, the level of radiation actually reaching the ground spikes exponentially. Now, what's really interesting about this crisis is how the unshielded sun, the very star that gives us life, suddenly becomes our absolute worst enemy. The atmosphere is continuously bombarded by cosmic rays and high-energy UV. Cases of skin cancer would skyrocket, cataracts would increase exponentially, cellular mutations would just spread like wildfire through the remaining population.
This paints a pretty grim picture of humanity's new reality, doesn't it? To survive that intense surface radiation, we would be forced into some really drastic lifestyle extremes. Option A, we adopt a strictly nocturnal existence. We'd have to hide away during the day and only emerge under the cover of darkness. Or, option B, we're forced to live entirely underground, huddled in bunkers heavily shielded by thick layers of concrete and lead.
Section 5. A Martian Future. Taking a step back from our immediate survival, let's look at the centuries-long cosmic endgame. Methodically, step by agonizing step, our planet undergoes this process called solar stripping. Step 1. The high-energy solar wind slowly but steadily blasts away our protective ozone layer. Step 2. Earth's water vapor is systematically stripped away. And finally, Step 3. Our life-giving oxygen simply bleeds off into deep space. It is a slow-motion death sentence for our entire atmosphere. And we really don't have to guess what Earth's final form looks like. Today, we live on this beautiful, wet, warm, thriving world. But future Earth? It becomes a frozen, dead desert. It directly echoes the ancient tragedy of Mars. In fact, Mars is basically a visual shorthand for Earth's ultimate tragic fate if we ever lost our magnetic core. So, the crucial point is this. Our entire digital utopia exists only by the grace of a magnetic shield. Think about it. Everything we have built, everything we rely on, and our very biological safety hinges entirely on this invisible force field churning miles below our feet.
I want to leave you with this haunting, provocative thought to summarize our explainer today. Without our technology, without our ecology, and without even a safe surface to stand on during the day, how long would human civilization truly last before Earth just becomes the next Mars? It's a question that really makes you marvel at the absolute fragility of our existence. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep learning.